Hi there, I'm Jen. This is Gunther Dog, and this is going to be our 2-week check-in for the group read of The Bully Pulpit, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, and the Golden Age of Journalism by Doris Kearns Goodwin. In the earlier chapters, we've heard an overall introduction in which we find out how much the author admires her subjects, which is interesting because I think a lot of historians would choose to try to appear a little bit more impartial. We had some interesting discussions in the Voxer group about presenting history through the lens of a couple of important people as opposed to through the general social situation, so that was interesting. We got a little bit of background of the political corruption that was happening during this particular era. We got a little peek into the childhoods of Roosevelt and Taft. We got an introduction to their wives, who were both quite influential as well, and there was some discussion of the labor issues of the time. 2 additional reading suggestions that came up in the Voxer group were Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, which looks into the situation of the working class of the time, as well as another Roosevelt book, The River of Doubt, which is about his life in a later period when he was on the Amazon River. This week we're getting into some later chapters, which will get into the introduction of McClure's magazine, which was huge when we get into the media and politics relationship as we go along. If you're reading along, I'd love to hear your opinions of the book so far. If bits and pieces of it have reminded you of other books, biographies, or pieces of period fiction, I'd love to hear which ones have been called to mind. Additionally, I found an interview that Doris Kearns Goodwin did on NPR the same year that this book came out, so I will link to that below. As well, I thought it was interesting to see that on the publisher page for this book, they have a discussion guide, a lot of which is very book club-esque, so it's not necessarily what we would want to be focusing on, but I did think the closing question was interesting, in which it asks about the balance of education and entertainment in nonfiction reading that you're doing for fun and enjoyment. So I'd love to know if you're reading along, are you approaching this primarily as an educational experience, or are you looking to it as entertainment as well, or a balance of the both? And are you finding it as entertaining or as educational as you'd hoped? I'd love to know. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you at the next check-in. Ciao.